welcome to our channel. Today we're totally diving deep into the hidden and shocking truths about life in Hungary. It's kind of crazy. You know, like you see all these pretty pictures on Instagram, but nobody's talking about what's really going on beneath the surface. Stay tuned, because what you're about to discover is gonna totally blow your mind. Okay, so Budapest. It's a city that captures the imagination with its stunning architecture and vibrant culture. It's like the Pearl of the Danube, right? A place where history and modernity blend seamlessly. Super gorgeous, all those bridges and castles. It's basically a fairy tale. You can almost feel the magic in the air. But here's the thing, even fairy tales have their dark sides. The city has layers that aren't always visible at first glance. We're going to talk about the stuff nobody really wants to mention, the problems that get swept under the rug, issues like homelessness and poverty. Think homelessness, poverty, things that can be easy to ignore when you're busy taking selfies at the Fisherman's Bastion. It's a stark contrast. And it's not just about what you see on the streets either. There's a deeper story here. We're going to get real about the political climate in Budapest, the rising cost of living, and how it's affecting everyday people. These are issues that impact lives. It's easy to romanticize a place like Budapest, but we have to remember there are real people living here, facing real challenges. Their stories matter. And sometimes those challenges are really intense. It's important to see the full picture. Next up, we're heading to Debrecen, Hungary's second largest city. It's a place with a rich history and vibrant culture. Now, Debrecen is known for being the gateway to Hortobágy National Park, which is absolutely stunning, by the way. The park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a haven for nature lovers. But Debrecen itself? It's got some issues, guys. Despite its beauty, the city faces significant challenges. We're talking unemployment, lack of opportunities, especially for young people. The job market here is tough, and many struggle to find work. It's like you get stuck there, you know? The feeling of being trapped with no way out is all too common. And then there's the whole brain drain thing. Talented individuals often leave in search of better opportunities. All the smart, ambitious people, they leave for Budapest or other countries because they feel like there's nothing for them in Debrecen. This exodus only exacerbates the city's problems. It's kind of a vicious cycle, you know? The more people leave, the harder it becomes for the city to thrive. The city struggles to keep up with the times. People get frustrated and leave, and the problems just keep piling up. Businesses close, and the local economy suffers. It's actually pretty sad when you think about it. The potential is there, but the reality is harsh. Debrecen has so much potential, but it feels like it's being held back. With the right investments and opportunities, it could truly shine. Okay, so Eger is totally charming. It's one of those places that just feels like it's straight out of a fairy tale. Baroque architecture, delicious red wine, it's like stepping back in time. You can almost feel the history in the air. But even in a place as picturesque as Eger, there are shadows lurking beneath the surface. It's not all sunshine and roses. We're going to talk about the challenges facing Eger's historic preservation efforts, because let's be real, maintaining those beautiful old buildings doesn't come cheap. It's a constant battle to keep history alive, and sometimes progress comes at a cost. New developments can clash with the old, creating a delicate balance. Plus, we'll delve into the social and economic disparities that exist even in a place as seemingly idyllic as Eger. It's a tale of two cities within one. Because the truth is, not everyone benefits equally from tourism and development. There's a stark contrast between the tourists and the locals. It's like you see these cute little shops and cafes, but are the people who actually live there able to afford to shop or eat in them? It's a question worth pondering. It's something to think about. The reality of life in Eger is more complex than it appears at first glance. Chapter 4, Pécs. More than just a pretty face. Pécs, Pécs, Pécs. This city is like the definition of Mediterranean vibes. Sunshine, history, culture, it's got it all. But let's be real. No place is perfect, not even Pécs. We're going to talk about the struggles faced by marginalized communities in Pécs. Because even in a place that seems so open and welcoming, discrimination and prejudice still exist. And we can't forget about the environmental challenges facing PECs like air pollution and waste management. Because sustainability matters, even in a city as beautiful as this. It's like, we can't just ignore these issues, you know? We have to acknowledge them if we want to make things better. Chapter 5. Lake Balaton. Trouble in Paradise Lake Balaton, the Hungarian Sea, it's like the ultimate summer destination. But even paradise has its problems, right? We're going to talk about the environmental concerns facing Lake Balaton, like pollution and overdevelopment. Because let's be real, tourism can take a toll on a place. And we can't forget about the social and economic disparities that exist in the communities surrounding the lake. Because not everyone benefits equally from the tourism boom, you know? It's like, we have to find a way to balance economic growth with environmental protection and social equity. It's a tough one, but it's something we have to figure out. Chapter 6. Oberstdorf Secrets in the Sand. Okay, so Oberstdorf National Heritage Park, it's like this huge open-air museum, super cool, super historical, but there's something kind of eerie about it, you know? We're going to talk about the mysteries and legends surrounding Oberstdorf because every historical site has its share of secrets. And some of them are seriously creepy. Plus, we'll delve into the challenges of preserving a place like Oberstdorf for future generations. Because history is fragile, guys, and it's up to us to protect it. It's like, we have to learn from the past so we don't repeat the same mistakes in the future, you know? The Sopron wine district is like totally famous for its wine. But behind those rolling vineyards and charming wineries, there's a whole other side to the story. We're going to talk about the challenges faced by small winemakers in the region, because let's be real, the wine industry can be tough, especially for the little guys. And we can't forget about the environmental impact of wine production, because sustainability matters. Even when it comes to our favorite drinks. It's like we have to be mindful of where our wine comes from and the impact it has on the environment and the people who produce it. Chapter 8. Hungary's Shadow Economy, the Price of Silence. Okay, so this is where things get kind of shady. We're talking about corruption in Hungary, the informal economy, the stuff nobody really wants to talk about. It's like, you hear whispers, rumours, but it's hard to know what's really going on. But we're going to try to shed some light on this dark side of Hungary, because transparency matters. We'll talk about the impact of corruption on everyday people, because it's not just some abstract concept, it affects real lives. And we'll explore the challenges of fighting corruption, because it's not easy, especially when it's so deeply ingrained in the system. Chapter 9. Human Rights in Hungary, a Reality Check. This is a tough one, guys. We're talking about human rights in Hungary, and things aren't exactly peachy. We'll be discussing the concerns raised by organisations like Human Rights Watch, because we can't just ignore these issues. We'll talk about freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and the rights of marginalised communities, because everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. It's like we have to hold our leaders accountable and speak out against injustice even when it's uncomfortable. Chapter 10. Hungary's hazardous waste out of sight, out of mind. Okay, so this is kind of scary. We're talking about hazardous waste in Hungary, specifically from those big battery factories. It's like we all love our gadgets and electric cars, but we rarely think about where those batteries come from and what happens to them when they die. We'll talk about the environmental and health risks associated with hazardous waste, because this stuff is seriously dangerous. And we'll explore the lack of transparency surrounding waste management in Hungary, because people have a right to know what's happening in their own backyard. Outro Hungary's Hidden Truths. So, yeah, Hungary, it's complicated. It's beautiful and charming, But it's also got its fair share of problems. Like, it's kind of like that person you meet who seems perfect at first, but then you start to see their flaws, you know? But here's the thing. Acknowledging those flaws doesn't mean we can't still appreciate the good stuff. It just means we have to be honest with ourselves about the whole picture. And maybe, just maybe, by shining a light on these hidden truths, we can start to make things better. Because ignoring the problem won't make it go away, right?